first and foremost, I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Stone, and salutations to all the brothers pushing this work in sincerity and in truth. We are the James, we are the Hebrew Israelites, James Hebrew Israelites from Kingston, Jamaica. Here another week, basically pushing this work of the Heavenly Father in all sincerity and in truth. You see me, because we are pressing towards the downfall of the system. As the scripture says, press towards the mark. You see me, we are pressing towards the downfall of the system. The scriptures basically show you that when the prophets are up on the scene, it's basically the coming of the end of an era. You understand? It always shows you how the Heavenly Father send the prophets them when tribulation is going to come upon the nation of Israel. And we're in that time period right now. We're in the time frame where a level of tribulation is coming upon the nation of Israel that has been basically, will be basically like no other. You understand? That is what we're in right now, man. You get it? That's slow.
Alright, Philippians 3 verse 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh.
Start a verse.
Alright, Philippians 3 verse 13. Yeah. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind.
So right now we live in a time frame where we have to wake up out of sleep. We can't count say we're in the state of basically rest or salvation. You understand? We have to in the state of being ready, being a watchman, always have a firm and sober mentality. Say any day now. You understand? Because the scripture say the Heavenly Father comes as a thief in the night. So we always have to be prepared and firm. Right?
Yeah, quick one for that. Revelation 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Exactly. Sleep meaning the dead state of mind. Always basically being docile. Because this world basically perpetuates things but put the mind in a state of slumber. Not being critical in thinking what is happening. Why this CV-19 is being pushed. Why them appear for you take it. All of these things are questions where people now ask because they're in a state of slumber. Go on.
It says, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Exactly, man. Now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, man. You understand? The times where we are living in right now are times that the prophets aforetime spoke of. You see, we are seeing blatantly right at our doorsteps.
Right, back in Philippians 3 verse 13, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth onto those things which are before.
Exactly, man. You have to get me 2 Corinthians 14. You see me? You have to get those things which are behind, reaching forth onto those things which are before me. You see? As the scripture says, Paul says, count all things but dung for the excellency of Yahushai. You see, that's the state we're in right now. We always have to account this current world as being worth as nothing for the excellency of Yahushai. Basically, putting yourself in a frame of mind to attain the kingdom. Right?
Okay. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh in Yahushai the Anointed.
Exactly, man. And that's the state of mind men who are a part of this truth supposed to in. I think that in I think 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. You see me? I think I can start from the first verse. You see me? I can read that in the meantime.
No, 2 Corinthians 14 or
14 verse 14.
Let's start from 13. 2 Corinthians 14 verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature.
Exactly, man. Basically the weak nature is in concern of the flesh. That's why the scripture speaks about mortifying the member. Understand? We have to put off the things of this world. Always being firm and prepared to always be in a state of losing. You see me? As how Paul basically say you got through a manifold of tribulation. He's supposed to be in that same state of mind as well. Understand? Because we have something bigger and better to come.
And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee.
Exactly, man. You have thoughts in this world, you have basically the affairs of this life, you have your pitney job, you see me? You have your bills, them, all of them, something is come like it's a burden unto us. Man. These are loads that many can bear. You see me? But at the end of the day, your comfort is supposed to be in the scriptures. You see me? When the times of tribulations are upon you and the basically hardship and austerity is upon you, you have to basically find a comfort in the tribulation and in the scriptures. You see? And know say, yo, we are a brotherhood. You see? In one fall, we always, the rest of we have to reach for help out. You see me? That is why the brotherhood exists. You understand? So, yo, right now we have to put off now that weak nature. You see? Forget about all of those problems in the world, man. You see? Focus upon the salvation which is to be had within the return of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
That's supposed to be the priority.
Priority.
It's not that you're going to dash with everything else. Exactly. But the priority, you know what I mean, with everything fall behind because you still, you know, you're living for the day. You still have to eat, you know, you still have to take care of yourself, whosoever have family, but them are the priority. Them are just part of the equation of the grand scheme of things. But the high priority is, you know, Yahushai.
That's the balance.
Yeah.
And haste thee to flee from these times.
Exactly. You have to haste to flee from these times, man. You see me? Because we're currently aware of the times that we are living in. We have to get into that. I finish, eh? Alright, man.
Yeah, quickly. This is 2 Timothy 2 verse 4. It says, no man that warreth, I'm sorry, 3. Thou endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua the Anointed.
Endure hardness. I'm glad to the brother bring up the point because it's sad so we have to say this. Say, yo, you have to work. Obviously. Some man are going to say, boy, life too hard. Give up everything and you have to put yourself in a state of, you see what I say, brother? You have to put yourself in a state of problems, man. Yo, the scripture say endure, my youth.
Like you have a youth who did left.
Oh, man,
left GMS because him say, yo, he couldn't get no job, he couldn't get no woman. While him there with GMS. And, you know, so these are some of the things, yo, make him go along in a way, man. Once you have the mindset, yo, go on.
In basically, I bring up false accusation against VMS because we basically have a doctrine of always being in a frame of mind to let go. See me? But because in coming and in here we have preached that we say, yo, all the carnal things of this life is worth and ascribed to us as nothing. In belief, say, yo, we just basically in our frame of mind for just be lazy. You see, we not work, we not basically endure hardship. What do you think the scripture means to endure hardship? You have a job, you have a family, you have to take care of them. You have to always in the frame of mind for work, man. But at the end of the day, if things can't work as how you would have it, what are you going to do?
And the hardness go back to the affliction, you know, really. You know what I mean? The affliction, because if you're in this thing and you get affliction, it's because you get called to face the affliction. And that is the war. It's a no man that war it, entangle himself with the affairs of this life. You're not that war upon the battlefield and shit. I wonder what my little baby is doing. Shit, I wonder if my wife is giving me bun.
You're in the moment and the time.
You know what I mean?
The movie Dead President.
You know, focus on what is at hand. You know what I mean? It's to focus on the mission, focus on the journey. See?
See me, in the movie Dead President, one of the man them, he look on him, wife and daughter and kids back at home.
On the battlefield.
On the battlefield. You see me? And it's like, him look on him comrade beside him and say, man, why don't you talk about your family? Man say, yo, so I'm there right so my mentality is to survive. You see? The shit them want at me right now, me have to dep on A1, the game on 1. You see me? 100%. So when you're there, I meditate on the life, man, you know, this current life, you know, I really focus at the war which is at hand.
Until one bullet slap out piece of your flesh. Yeah?
There's another movie me I watch and it's like the man basically lose him focus for a split second. And a bullet that slap out him head.
What, a shooter?
You see me? It's a military movie. All the amount of them watch.
Step on a mine or something, you know, pay attention, you're in a mine zone. Something like that, you know, but these are the things that we get set up in that. Because it's a spiritual warfare we are going through. You know, pay attention, you know, zone in, you know, somebody tip you off. You know what I mean? Somebody tip you off and you lose it, you get emotional, you act out of character and you get fucked. You know what I mean? These are the things that we have to watch for. You see me?
This is your one. Finish this and you
yes, I like it.
Yeah, back in Timothy 2:4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier.
God, I'm a perfect example on that because if you look on Paul, isn't it? But you end up happening to Paul, yo. You see me? By the time he goes and go in the synagogue, with the two youth, them and teach him and everything. Man, them come, one man just come and say, yo, just go and inform and say, yo, look what the man do and so, and the whole people them come down upon him. All the man do push this word, you know. You see me? And what them do, them set him before the rulers and the kings to kill him. You see me? That man go through hell, snake bite him. Shipwreck, snake bite him. You see me? And what? Through all of that, get thrown in a prison and through all of that, the Lord sitting there with him and the Lord say, yo, look, we still want you to go through and do this, yo. What if Paul would say, yo, him can't manage this? Why him have to go through this? Why them want to kill him? We don't do nothing. You see me? But guess what? He went through it and what for a purpose, and at the end of it, what? He teach the word of the Lord, yo. There's a reason why he go through all of that. You see me? And through it all, he did miracles, you see me? And he did wonders. And it was a good thing amongst people, them too. You understand me?
Just a quick piece of tobacco, I'm not sure if you read this.
So like
No man, no, go on.
No.
Alright, this is 2 Timothy.
Yeah.
Alright. Go ahead, Yasha.
I spirit.
Just want to make sure. Alright. It says,
Anyway, remember, since you're...
Go on, brother,
I'm
go on.
going to find it. It's 2 Ezra 16, verse 40. Start at 39. Start at 38. As when a woman, 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. As when a woman with child is in the 9th month, bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not at a moment. Even so shall the plagues be, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Just to, you know.
Basically, you can connect that with I think 1 Corinthians chapter 7.
Yeah, I want it. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, 29. Anyway, it says, but I say, brethren,
Right?
the time is short.
Exactly, the time short, as the scripture tells you in the book of Revelation 12 and 12. You see me? Because no, you can just get it, quickly to match up with that. You see me? Because the time short, we're living in a time frame right now where basically at the edge. See, this current economy is at the edge of going over the cliff. You see me? Basically like a fall. Remember?
Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heaven, and ye that dwell in them.
Right?
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth,
Meaning everybody who inhabit the earth, naturally. Right?
and of the sea.
Right?
For the devil is come.
Devil. You see, the word devil goes back to the Latin word diablo, you see, which means deceiver. Understand? Who is the deceiver right now? Esau, so-called white man. He's the one who have the earth in a deception, right? What?
For the devil is come down unto you,
Right?
hearing,
having.
so like, great wrath,
Right?
because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Exactly. You see me? That at the short time we have the devil basically put a certain level of affliction to accomplish his agenda because he knows him have about a short time. You see me? Go back in that, you can get Revelation.
Back in 1 Corinthians 7:29, but this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth, that both they that have wives.
Exactly. So right now the devil are gear up in plans to put things into place. You see? So there are certain things that we have to do in preparation. Go on, bro?
That both they that have wives
Right.
be as though they had none.
You have her, but the mindset is that you don't have none. You see, the mindset is supposed to be she's just there for you basically you fulfill your duties, yes. But at the end of the day, your mindset focused upon the battle which is at hand.
That's right.
Go on, bro?
And they that weep as though they wept not.
You have to dry your tears, brother. You see me? All the little afflictions you have come up against you, the persecution that now gonna help you higher. You see? You have to stand up firm. You have to gird up your lines like a man. You see? Be ready. You understand? Basically in the scripture it tells us, say, yo, if you have to send out some man to war, you have some man when you have the frame of mind to go to war, make him turn a yard.
And just the frame of mind to go war, the frame of mind to die. If you watch one, enough of them movie, their Greek movie or Viking movie or shows or so, they always show you, say, yo, look the man and say, yo, we're willing to die for our king, or we're willing to die for people, yo.
300,
you get me?
Well,
Exactly.
we have a king, and with that, you know, we have Yahushua as our king.
Right.
Not high priest, Alizar. You see me? We have Yahushua as our high priest.
That's right.
Now we're going to die for our high priest.
You see me? Yeah. The scripture says, strive for the truth unto what? Death. You understand? So they are the weeping thing and the little feminine type of spirit. Now it can work.
Yeah, immortal thoughts.
Exactly. What?
And they that rejoice as though they rejoice not.
Exactly. Again, a little pleasure here and there. Just know, say, yo, it so come that I'm going to diminish. You see me? It not last for long. Because we live in a time where we have to in a constant state of affliction, persecution, and austerity. You understand? What, bro?
Remind us more even when you have like more ingredients. And they that says, and they that rejoice be as though they rejoice not, yo. When you have good times, yo, that in itself is a temptation that will make you want this wicked world to prolong a little more, just because it's a little bit easier for you, you're financially stable or something. No, man, be rejoice as though, what is it? As though they rejoice not.
Exactly. As me and my brother about they have a conversation. The man say, yo, sometimes you're in this life and things seem to be going too well. You have to really look at the corner of your eye like, fuck a man. You see me? As a spiritual man, everything that's supposed to be just going smooth, so there's some trap being set already in basically in the way for you. You see me?
Yeah, because you can look at that. You can look at that as your trial. You see me?
Exactly.
Too much things are going good for you and it's going perfect. You understand me? The Lord that tests you for safety, you're going to get taken away by it. And so too, when you fall for your face, everything will go good, and all of a sudden nothing will turn over for you. It goes to show if the Lord see you, if you're going to really turn from where you do, you get me, or see, if you go sell out or do something because you want to get out of the predicament, or if you're going to seek Him.
Exactly, so you have to anchor yourself in the word through Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Anchor. Always, this scripture says, He will not cause thy foot to be moved. See, so you have to basically hold firmly in place within His word. That's why the scripture says, yo, don't let that, basically, the scripture says, don't let that day go by without you actually acknowledge Heavenly Father. Because day and today, see, and night and night, you have to basically give praise. Remember?
And they that buy as though they possessed not.
Exactly.
And they that use this world as not abusing it. For the fashion of this world passeth away.
Right. One bro, the Thessalonians.
Alright, Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren,
Right.
ye have no need that I write unto you.
You see me speaking about those in the know. You understand? There should be no need. A brother have a right until you tell you, say, yo, dog, you see what going to China? Dog, you see what going to No, them things are as a watchman you're supposed to see. You see, you're supposed to basically you see, be a sentinel, so to speak. You understand? That's why so much out there. The work many, but the laborers are few. You see me? So all of we have to depend on the spotlight now. You see me? And watch the things them want go on. Exactly. Watchmen. Nothing is supposed to pass you. You understand? Go on, bro.
It says, for yourselves know perfectly
Right?
that the day of Yahweh Shemel Shai so cometh as a thief in the night.
Exactly. All of them plagues here and so forth, them basically things are precursors for the return of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. You see me? You can get me no, 2 Ezra chapter 9. You see me?
Oh,
Hold it, if you hold it, beat it.
Alright, yeah, more the point. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Exactly, man. You see me? Travel upon a woman with child. Understand? Just like when a child in a period of contraction, the contraction phase.
Wow.
Woman, you
A
mean?
woman, slack here, a woman in a period of contraction phases, see me, you know, say, yo, the delivery is basically at hand. I understand it there right there, so, and when she in that them phases there, basically she have go through a series of pain. So right now, you see the earth is likened unto a woman. I go through those contraction phases. You understand? So you don't say, yo, the things that are happening right now, the uproars of the people, certain implementation, this CV19 implementation, these are the things which they call the contraction phases. And you know, so these symbolize the return of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
And the birth of the kingdom to come.
Alright,
It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief, right? Ye are all the children of light, the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness.
Exactly, man. So right now we supposed to know, say, yo, these things are the things which are at hand. You see me, we are see them clearly. Understand, bro?
This is 2nd Ezra 9 verse 1.
The gate and verse 62. Yeah, verse 62. No, 61.
Second Ezra 8 and verse 61. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. These things have I not shewed unto all men, but unto thee and a few like thee.
Yes, so the angel basically speak to Idris here, so not all men were given these prophecies, were able to see the end of times, you know what I mean? But only a few and a few like thee, only to thee and a few like thee were given in these prophecies, which are the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
The scripture says, and give it him secrets unto him servants the prophets.
Right, you know?
Then answered I and said, Behold, O Lord, now hast thou shewed me the multitude of the wonders.
Right, so it's just see all of the prophecies coming to pass, and it's just to the end of time, you know what I mean? But it's just never see, basically never get the info as to when it gonna happen, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna ask the question now.
Which thou wilt begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not shewed me.
Right.
And 2nd Ezra 9 now, that jump straight into it. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, Salakia, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
Second Ezra actually saw Yahushua coming back as well. Second Ezra. Ezra actually saw Yahushua coming back. Ezra saw the prophecy of the famine, the RFID microchip being implemented, Jacob's trouble, you know what I mean, and World War III. Ezra saw all of this, yo. And Ezra was like, hey, I see all of these prophecies, but when? You know what I mean? When Yahushua is going to return? When are these prophecies going to be fulfilled? And the angel told him, look, measure the time diligently in itself. I'm going to give you signs. Use these signs to measure when these things are going to happen. You know? It's the same thing we're doing right now with the scriptures. You know what I mean? And he says,
Verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes,
right? When the earthquake happens, well, they have an earthquake in Cyprus. Cyprus, the earthquake. Yeah, Cyprus. You know what I mean? Cyprus. I think it was a 4-point-something magnitude earthquake, and then instead them have like a whole lot of aftershocks after, and it's going to continue on, and it may, well, Cyprus, and I think it's in Arizona as well. But we see the earthquakes, yo. You know, bro.
and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
Right. So when you see these things happen, there's no say, yo, the end is being manifested. You understand? I think it's going like that. Say, yo, the end is manifested.
Verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
So you have kingdoms which have a beginning and it has an end. You see me? So all things in the world that has been established, trends, they have a beginning and an end. Me, you, our carnal life and physical manifestation on the earth right now, it has a beginning and an end. You see? So now the scripture says now is the end manifest. You see? What is that end that is manifested? You see me? Is it talking about the end of the Assyrian Empire? Is it talking about the end of the ancient day Babylonian Empire? Or the Grecian or the Roman? No. It is talking about the end of this current empire. You understand? The new Roman Empire. You understand? And that is the end where basically we are going to come in and reign. You see? That is the end that symbolizes the exaltation, and the rulership of the children of Israel. You understand? As the scripture tells you in the book of 2nd Ezra, say Esau is the end of this world and Jacob is the beginning of it that following. You understand? So right now the scriptures that speak about the end, it's speaking about the time of our salvation. You understand? You find it out?
But this is Job chapter 14 because you say everything has an end, right? An appointed time. And also it's a trend as well. You know, say Job 9 and 24 tells us that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau, Edom right now, he's the one that governs the earth. He set up trends, you know what I mean? He set up ideas, you know what I mean, philosophies. All the way of this life, it's of Esau, Edom, and that's why Yahweh Shai say, the world is my enemy. Because Esau, scripture refers to Esau as Satan, the adversary of Israel. And I mean, Esau is adverse to the laws of Yahweh Shai. You know what I mean? So, this is Job 14 verse 5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass.
Exactly. So Esau's bounds has been appointed, he can't pass it. Understand? The Heavenly Father set up each kingdom in a manner where them have them time frame of rule. You understand? And Esau's time frame of rule is currently at hand. You see, that's why I tell you, say, him come down for him because him know him have but a short time. You see, he might try to establish an agenda. All of the things that we see are play out in the world right now is Esau manipulating the affairs of the world to accomplish an agenda. You understand? When you look on the CV-19 and how it's taking place and the impacts that is having on the economy, it's not worth it. You understand? It's not worth it in terms of the effect the CV-19 is having in itself in comparison to the effect that it's actually having on the economy. It's a very vast pan. It's like a drop of water in our pocket to a friggin' sea, to a tidal wave. You understand? Because the impact that this little thing that is happening right now on the economy in relation to people's life or mortality rate, it is no close comparison. You see, there's a major difference. You understand? So when you look on those things, you realize, say, you hype up the impact of this thing right here. So you hype up the impact of the CV-19 on people, mortality, which is people's life. You understand? And not realizing that the effects it have on the economy and how the economy are relate to people's life and how it impact them people's life way more dangerous. You see? Because this are bringing famine. You understand? Because people are losing them jobs on a higher level. You see, we speak about that a lot. This are bringing the RFID microchip, which that word becomes such a sensitive word right now. Them are shadow ban, and them are basically cancel channels because of that word. You understand? The impacts, the effects where Esau do right now, the things where Esau do right now, it might cause such a massive impact on the world, man. And the people at hand that you can clearly see, he have an agenda. But that also symbolizes his end. You understand?
Because the closer and closer and push him agenda, as the Yahweh Shai say, when he's about to fill his belly, you know what I mean? Pull the rug from under him foot.
This is Job 20, verse Job 20, verse 23. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits.
Yeah, so right now, Esau reach him in fullness of sufficiency, you know what I mean? Because you have places like what? Queensland, Australia, Moscow. They have this thing called, QR. You know what I mean? As I say, them use this quote unquote pandemic, you know what I mean, pandemic, you know, for if you push them agenda, never let a good crisis go to waste. So them push the RFID microchip right now in Queensland. You need a QR code in order to get into certain places, you know what I mean. So you have to get, you know, inoculated. You have to basically keep it up to date. Your QR code will tell if you get inoculated or not. That's just a precursor to the RFID microchip. And as
you can't buy or sell without it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, vital part that you can't buy or sell without it. What the scripture says in Revelation, you know what I mean? You need the mark so that you can buy or sell. Yeah, Nate, it passed June. We're still in June, July now still. Ain't no microchip, but it's coming, yo. Continue, bro. Yes.
Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So when he's about to accomplish his agenda, his New World Order, because even the Economic World Forum, yo, I think next month, they're planning to run a drill on a cyber attack, a major cyber attack. They're running a drill on that. So you can see clearly it is in their plan to do a reset. Clash Schwab talk about it. You're gonna have an economic reset, yo. You know what I mean? And then you have the World Economic Forum talking about, all right, we're facing threats of cyber attacks, so we need to run a drill. Hey, we know say them are run the drill. We know say them are lock down the grid. You know what I mean? And I just say, yo, that them are plan a strategic famine, because that can bring about a famine. A week without electricity, you know how much damage that can do, yo? Tile it can't flush, water can't get pushed in the houses. You know what I mean?
There was a blackout happening in America, I think in the early 2000s or early 90s. When that blackout happened, and I heard about it in about a couple of hours, people also were gone empty. Because the fridge, the society set up, is that it's set up in a way where electricity keeps food fresh. You see me? And it can't be exactly. They don't know natural ways of preserving food. So when that happens, now they must take out every freaking thing out of the fridge and cook it. Fridge empty. You see, the supermarkets then empty, because what keeps the food fresh in the supermarket? Fridge.
Electricity.
You know? So when all of that happens now, all people are going to get food. They don't like say them have natural hunting skills.
Especially this generation.
Exactly.
If you may
talk generation. Know if you catch a fucking fire.
You know? Hey, I tell you. And then that's the motto of Esau, yo, these devils, you know what I mean? Scripture says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, and woe to them that work iniquity upon their bed. You can get them scripture there, you know what I mean? Their motto is order out of chaos. Them need the chaos. They need a chaos, yo. And that's why there's the cyber attack may just come. You might hear, oh, we had a
right now.
It's been coming, you know?
There's a lot of places in the US that have been having cyber attacks. You see me? When come to the news and I say, yo, all them places to get attacked and all that, and people come up on YouTube and say, yo, look, the Simpsons start about been showing you places like this, how the big powerful America is being attacked, and them are blame Russia.
Right now, you see everything set up perfectly to the entrance of a country. We can get 2nd Ezra 15 verse, I think, 5. You see me? Set up, go on, bro. I can get my Baruch chapter 1 as well. You see? And you call it Deuteronomy 28, I think around 51 or there. Okay. Go on, bro.
This is 2nd Ezra, 2nd Ezra 15 verse 5. Right? It says, behold, saith Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You see, the Heavenly Father said, I'm going to bring plagues upon the world. Now Esau is the hammer of the earth. You see, him are the destroyer of this current world. You see, the scripture says the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All of them things are related to Esau. Him basically encapsulates the coming of all of them things. You see, you can read about it in the book of Revelation chapter 6. Now, when we do all of these things, when we implement, you can see how it can accomplish the famine. Because famine is by design. It's not like the food not there, but it basically designed in a way that famine is going to basically happen. Because the food we're supposed to supply the cities in don't come from the cities. You see, they come from other places. Jamaica food resources, they come, majority of Jamaica food resources, they come from Jamaica. It don't get manufactured and cultivated in Jamaica. It comes from overseas. So when you see a design like that, you see that it is basically set up for farming. You understand? When you look on history and the famines that are happening over the course of history, right? Because it happened for our punishment and because of the things that we do, you realize it happened because of, number one, is either a siege on a city. You see me? So when them have a siege on a city, you realize that the people can't get no resources and supplies get cut off. Examine the situation we have in Samaria with the children of Israel. I think how would them be attacked? The Assyrians them they attacked them. See, basically it was in such a dire state, people started to eat them one picnic.
And on siege of Leningrad too, most recently.
Right? You don't want to speak on it.
You know, mothers in the siege of Leningrad, the mothers started eating their children.
And that a come back right now. You see me? That a come back right now because today is the new modern day Babylon. You understand? So it happened in a Samaria. You see, in a Samaria what happened? 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 25. I think at 25 or 26. You're supposed to know which part it is. You see me? The things that happen in Samaria come back right now. You see? The things that happen in Babylon come back right now. Baruch spoke about it. You understand? You think that these things just written for us a story, kick back and drink a cup of coffee and say, oh, wow, sound graphic. And things we ever see happen now. When you see Ezra's come so boom and kick back and meditate and say, yo, woe is me, who shall deliver me from these times? It because him see the level of persecution and affliction we are happening. Him see the graphic nature of what they happen. Go on, bro.
Yeah, as I say, 1080 years, because it will come back in a new and improved version, as Daniel 12 and 1 say.
1080,
Yeah.
4K.
Ultra 4K, bro.
Go on, bro.
Alright, so this is 2 Kings 6. I go 25. And there was a great famine in Samaria. Right? After it was besieged. Right? There was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 40 pieces of silver.
Great famine in Samaria because the children of Israel was dwelling in the land of Samaria at the time. See, at the time, basically the generals and the princes of Syria, basically them have odds with basically the children of Israel. So them say, oh, look here, see them people here, they could basically take them cities. You see, go upon them. You see, corral them basically cities so them can have no food in our house. Go on, bro.
Alright, and the fourth part.
You know, that was a strategy they used against their enemies. Right?
It's a worship.
Exactly. So Esau is our enemy. He's at war with us. So what do you think is going to happen when in Usher in the famine, yo? It are going to force people to take what them not supposed to take. They want TV in order to get food when in turn back on.
And to basically subject to him agenda. As Brother Love bring out the scripture in the book of Judith. See, when them be basically, I remember somebody. I don't remember which general he was, but the general of Babylon. You see me, but in the late siege, on the dwellings where Israel is there. See, and he basically stop food from going in and out so that them was subject to him will. You understand? So Judith, they have to basically, most I basically deliver the children of Israel to a woman. Trick him and kill him. That's how they have to happen. But Eliphurnes, I think that Eliphurnes are Acor. So Acor. Eliphurnes was the general and Acor was a man assisting. See? So Acor basically say, yo, you see them people here, they say once them in a good standing with them daddy, them good, them daddy are protect them. No matter where you do them, the father protect them. You see, but what you have to do, you have to put them in a state where them basically factor from the orders of the Heavenly Father. Then you can catch them. So when you see them things you are implement right now, you can see say Esau set up a trap so that the children of Israel can stray more than all them already stray from the Heavenly Father, man. You understand? One, bro?
You want it?
Oh, I think they never yet, but make explain to you.
Alright, so it's on the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. Right? And to edification in our talk about literal.
Can read it still.
You see me?
Can read
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You go
but-
into that's what they ask you
Yeah,
there.
go on.
Dove's dung. When you go into the Strong's definition, it says of uncertain derivation, probably some cheap vegetable, perhaps a bulbous root.
Right. I don't know, for the man them I probably grew up a country, you know, say yo, the dashing art can cook like cabbage. Right? But I know one delicacy where people go for like that, you see me?
Even the part of the cabbage where you don't normally cut off.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even strip the cabbage.
Yeah.
Time will come, people are going to
Nothing now waste.
Exactly. Right.
Nothing now that's true.
You see me? So as the definition say, you know, cheap vegetable. It says, Dove's dung 5 pieces of silver, and the king of Israel was passing by the wall. There cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the wine press? Right? So you must say, oh, where food there? You see me?
Everybody,
How am I going to help you with?
everybody are feeling.
Hey, and that Andrew will tell them for them people, you see me?
God.
Then stormy in the storehouse.
He said, and the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow.
One day scholar a bargain. Who are going to eat with me first?
Yep.
You understand? Look what you know all that is for your mother, because a mother loves your child more than anybody, anything else. You see, and this is also a curse. This curse is in the book of Deuteronomy. You see me? So imagine that discussion between the two of them. You understand? And imagine say it come again. You see, because these things come upon the children of Israel because of what them do, man. Them always are disobey the laws, commandments, and statutes of the Heavenly Father. You understand? Remember?
Alright. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her, On the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hid her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh.
Exactly, man. And these things are things that happen. Another event that is similar to that is when basically Baruch was speaking in Babylon. See, he might give the history of what happened to the children of Israel in Jerusalem when Babylon laid siege upon Jerusalem. Right? And he basically say, yo, the nobles them when they hear the story of what happened in Jerusalem, they must say, whoa. You mean say all the temple get siege, everything in the temple mash up? Here what we are going to do, we are gather some funds and send on to them so them can restore the service of the priesthood. You understand? Because the things that were happening in Jerusalem was gruesome. You see? People eat them own picnic, man. You understand? And that's why when you jump to the book of Baruch chapter 2 verse 2, wait and say. Do you have it, Baruch 2 and 2?
Yeah, read it.
Yeah, what?
It's a Baruch 2 and verse 2. It says, To bring upon us the...
Start one, Baruch.
Verse 1 says, Therefore, the Lord hath made good his word which he pronounced against us.
Exactly. So the Lord made good his word, because the thing is that the children of Israel was going off to the point where they say, yo, look here, we're not going to serve the king of Babylon. You see, and them go, oh, serve the king of Babylon. So the Moses say, alright then, cool, we don't want to do it. We're going to basically put under the hands of Babylon by force. You see me? And that is what happened. Babylon said, oh, I siege the city. You see, the siege where them have on the city was one of the most recorded level of famine were happening in the land. You understand? And that was a curse unto the children of Israel because them transgressed the laws of the Heavenly Father. You see, so the scripture saying what?
Alright, it says, he pronounced, made good his word,
right,
which he pronounced against us and against our judges,
right,
that judged Israel, and against our kings and against our princes,
right,
and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues such as never happened under the whole heaven.
Exactly.
As it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter, Moreover, he had delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are round about us.
You people don't think any of this can happen again. You don't think that because you wake up every morning and you can go down to a corner shop, you know, so Mr. Chang supermarket or your next Chinaman wholesale, you know, so you can get a piece of saltfish in a baked bean. But all of that are going to stop it, Lord, are going to cut off, are going to break the stuff for bread, yo.
Yep.
Right?
Full storehouses shall be empty.
But it's funny how you use saltfish and baked bean, because I guess I don't make it. Saltfish and baked bean don't make it.
Over 85% of our food is imported.
Yep, I have a video for you on that.
You finished, bro?
Finished? I don't know if you want to go more in.
I think it finished, man. You finished verse 2?
Yeah, man.
I finished verse 2. See me out something?
Yeah, quick thing, but Shamar, can you have something?
I'm just going to say all of this, go back to the curses as the Ak was saying before, is because we're not, yeah, have the Deuteronomy, because we weren't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures. And I believe in 2 Corinthians 16 it said all these things are scourges for amendment. Deuteronomy 28 verse 53, what the Ak called for. And thou shalt
Start at 51.
You sure? Alright, Deuteronomy 28 verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he has destroyed thee. And he's referring to
basically Esau. See, in our whenever we're in a captivity under. You understand? Because of that happened to our people all the time when we're in a captivity. The other nations them basically acquire our goods. See, everything we labor for them get. See, our blood, sweat and tears build this current society. But what we get out of it, we get nothing.
shitty end of the stick.
Shitty end of the stick, remember?
Verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
Exactly. And that besiege is basically showing it was happening in Babylon. You see, when Babylon besieged Jerusalem, it happened in Samaria. You see me? So these are some of the things that happen. Understand? When we over there on the west coast of Africa, what them do? Them come so boom, some plan up against them money that come over there for we and carry over here to the other end of the earth.
That's what happened.
You see me? And those are so the scripture said they shall besiege thee in all thy gates, meaning wherever we dwell, them are come the free and them are take we and put we in a bandit.
Hey, as it say, all thy gates in the same siege of Jerusalem then. In scripture say, thou Edom should not have looked on thy brother in his time of affliction. We're going on the history of it, according to Josephus. What Esau actually do was wait at the gate, the opening, you see me? And for any Israelites who have flee out, they either trap them up, ambush them and kill them. You see me? So Esau, devil.
See? Go on, bro.
Finish this up. Alright, back in Deuteronomy 28:52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest.
Basically your defense. See, your defense now have no use. You understand? Because a siege is a terrible thing. Moment of siege, when you watch certain movies, some of the movies them now come to mind right now. You understand? But when you watch certain movies and portray a siege, and then basically a siege can happen for months.
One happened in Game of Thrones. What the Ak always like talk about. What they said was, if I'm remembering correctly, first they started to eat when the meat was all gone. Then the dogs started disappearing. Then the horses first started disappearing. Then the dogs started disappearing. Then the rats started disappearing. You know why they were disappearing? Because they were eating. And you know, when they finally got rescued from that siege, from the Onion Knight, he was not called the Knight of the Onion Knight because that he was smuggling onions, and that's what they were down to boiling belt buckles, man. They were boiling the belts. That's weird in the reach.
You know, you remind me of, we see a little taste of this, a little glimmer of this famine in West South American country, Venezuela, yo. We see in the whole of 2019 and 2020, right?
Big doctor left. Big doctor left Venezuela for to turn prostitute. You see me? Because them not enough food.
Alright, finishing up Deuteronomy 28 and 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy power hath given thee.
More the point, what?
Yeah, 53. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body.
Exactly. See, me have a story out here in Jamaica when some fishermen were basically stranded at sea. When them basically find them fingernail gone, them toenail gone, the crust underneath them bottom gone, because them start to feed on them own selves. You understand? The scripture says you shall snatch on your right hand, and yet not be filled. You understand? That is the level of basically hunger we are going to go through. You understand? And then one day,
where this scripture talk about
that
body. A lot of people will read them because you have history to show you that a lot of times when these seasons happen or famine happen,
cannibalism come back in a big way.
Baby food gone first of all on soup.
And who first start doing the women?
Weaker vessel.
Right, because when I look on the story in the scripture with King Solomon, there is who came to him about the matter of the child? 2 women. You see me? One say, oh, today we'll cook my when I will eat, tomorrow we'll cook here when I will eat.
I don't think that's King Solomon. King Solomon? I don't think that's King Solomon. It's the same Samaria. No, it's the same Samaria. I think King Solomon was basically one killer Brittany and the
roll over.
Tribe came here. You see me? It's Samaria. I don't remember the king of Samaria. I think the name Joachim. I couldn't find that, but you can look it up. Yeah, I think that's Joachim. King Joachim.
Hey, what the scripture say? Better to die by the sword than famine.
See? Look a bit more than that.
Yeah, it explains, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters,
Right?
which the Lord thy power hath given thee in the siege and in the straitness.
I think you can jump down to verse 57 where it talk about tender and delicate woman among you.
Can. Deuteronomy 28 verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground.
See, they are going with them tiptoe and all of them something like them fancy.
Like them shit those things.
Yeah, you call them the OnlyFans. The OnlyFans girl, them are the Insta models.
Yeah, like them shit those things as the brother. What I got to them, bro?
Can. Would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness.
One like say she all hot and this and that. Hey.
You know, go to them pop down restaurants or them little cheap places, so she have to live that high life, that good life.
Only shrimp and lobster.
Right, that from 5-star hotels, the Negril, the Ochis and the Sandals and all. She have to live that good life. She can't come down on New Kingston or no New Kingston, half a tree and walk like commoners and them.
Yes. The scripture says something like that. You pray this day happen soon. Go on, bro.
Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter,
Yes.
and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet,
Right?
and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them.
So all the man you think say, yo, you think say your wife will live with too much in years, I go spare you. No man, she kill you and sleep and yam you. You see me? She think about herself and she go save the baby them for last. Understand?
Them go first.
Alright.
Them go first because